Each person is a decision maker for their own security and privacy, and may be influenced by the actions of a system owner. For clarity, we then refer here to the system owner as an influencer and each user within that managed system as a decision maker. The influencer may want to influence a decision maker by changing the environment around them or by influencing their decisions in some way. The influencer may believe there is some need for a user behavior or set of user behaviors to change for the system to be more secure. Ideally, it would be a change that each user would feel benefits from. For instance, in an organizational context, we have already discussed how a user may enact security tasks altruistically for the good of not only themselves, but their peers and the wider organization when we looked at the compliance budget. An example of a behavior change activity would be to encourage users to keep their device software up to date, whether they are employees in a company or members of the public using a home computer. To paraphrase Cormac Hurley on these points, if the obviously right behavior was clear, it would be doable for users within their circumstances. We would not be asking users to do the impossible. That raises questions around how we ensure that the behavior is indeed possible. There are challenges when influencing a security or privacy behavior to change. One is to make sure the behavior changes. Another is to make sure the target behavior changes without impacting user goals. Ability, motivation, and opportunity are key elements to making a behavior happen. Users should only be asked to do what they have the ability to do. Where user-facing security has failed, it has often been because the user is being asked to act like an expert, but at times also to do the impossible. Remembering lots of complex passwords was difficult to say the least until password manager apps appeared, which have reduced the ability necessary of users to have distinct and strong passwords. Two-factor authentication became a lot easier when it leveraged a second factor that many users already have with them, a mobile phone, to generate temporary codes. Motivation is also key. What a user believes can affect their engagement with the efforts of an influencer to have them behave more securely. A user, as a decision maker, may not see the reason to enact a security behavior. They may feel that they are unable to do it. Both ability and motivation need to be supported, and a behavior change intervention cannot be driven by one or the other alone. The user also needs the opportunity to enact a behavior. When a user is asked to use a secure password, when should they do that? Immediately after hearing this advice? When they next create a service account? It should go without saying that there also needs to be a clearly defined behavior that we want a user to adopt. However, as has already been noted by Cormac Hurley, often in security and privacy guidance initiatives, the target behavior is not defined, let alone clear. A target behavior can be, for example, to create a secure password. This particular behavior would then need to be linked with the behavior to use a secure password and to store a secure password securely. This last behavior could be enacted through use of a password manager, but there are also advisories to have users write a note for safekeeping and keep that note in a secure place. In both of these cases, the influencer would make the behavior a lot easier to do if they smoothed the path and provided those utilities for the user. The infrastructure can be modified around the user to make it that much simpler for them to successfully adopt a new behavior, making it more habitual and requiring less conscious effort. What still needs research is how to get the secure behavior without damaging the primary task, or at least ensuring that the primary task is not impacted. When we focus on ensuring that security behaviors are followed, the interaction with productive activities is often not examined in tandem. For instance, users may be able to remember a complex password for a few days, but begin to struggle to remember it after that, and so the security behavior was achieved but is not sustainable. Established behavior change models inform our discussion now. One is the COM-B model. The COM-B model centers behavior within the behavior change wheel. The behavior change wheel has 3 layers. The sources of behavior, which are the capability, opportunity, and motivation already mentioned. Another layer is the intervention functions, which include but are not limited to enablement, education, persuasion, incentivization, and environmental restructuring. The third layer includes initiatives such as guidelines, regulation, and environmental and social planning. These layers beyond the individual help to further convey that infrastructure around the user must be conducive to secure behavior. If we want users to be more cautious about how they share private information on websites, then one step is to ensure that websites provide controls to allow a user to be selective about what they share, and to make that easier for them to achieve. Regulations would drive website operators to put these controls in place. GDPR made some of this happen. Another behavior change model is BMAP. The Fogg BMAP model for persuasive design includes a P, the prompt for a person to reach a target behavior. A prompt can be a spark, a facilitator, or a signal. A spark can provide a boost for a person who has low motivation, thereby compensating for that low level. A spark can leverage hope, acceptance, but also negative motivators such as fear. A facilitator can support a person with high motivation and low ability to make a difficult task seem possible without resources the person does not have. Many security interventions give advice that is described as easy to do as a facilitator. That means the behavior then does need to be easy for the user. A signal is a message directed to the person to act as a reminder. The BMAP model considers the notion of an opportune moment for a behavior to change, when both motivation and ability are at the right level so that the target behavior is in reach. A prompt can help them over the line at that moment. For instance, when someone has just purchased a new device, they may be receptive to advice on how to set it up securely, while in the excitement of their new purchase. An instruction manual or media triggered by the device on startup could mention security configuration steps and offer additional guidance, for instance. Similarly, if the device was purchased in a bricks and mortar store, that would be an opportune moment for sales staff to mention security and make sure the user knows where to go for further advice on using the device securely. An influencer will typically argue that added security will benefit the user, and if they are working for a company or similar, also benefit the organization they are in. That then assumes that the user could or should share to some degree the same preference for additional security that the influencer does. This leads us to the concept of nudges and nudging. Here, a nudge is a better option added to the available options people have to reach a particular goal, with the expectation that because it is better, the person will naturally gravitate toward that better option. One example is placing healthy foods such as fruit and vegetables at eye level or near payment points in a supermarket, making it easier for a customer to fulfill that better outcome. Given the sense of urgency, the implicit argument in security is often that a system must be made secure and not leave it to chance that the user will select the choice that the security manager thinks they should. This to some extent ignores that security is secondary. It certainly ignores opportunities to explore how to get benefits to both security and primary tasks, such as productive work. So in security, when there is talk of using a nudge, it is usually more of a prod, where the user is given less freedom as to whether to follow a behavior. For example, organizations might support one particular form of two-factor authentication over another. A lot of the work in human-centered security argues that the individual needs to be better understood, to know what security solutions, here as choices, work better for them. Usability research goes further to argue that solutions should meet user needs first.